Hey everybody, Coach Troy here. Now today is a lucky day for me because Atari has dropped off a little package. Let's check out what we got inside. Alright, open this up and look what we got here. We have got our... But if this is the first thing out of the box, that means the second thing could only be Pac-Man Double Feature. Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this one. I am super excited to check it out. But first, let's look at this controller. Alright, so I'm a little one-handed. I may need some help with this. See if I can get it done. No promises on not cutting myself. Good thing I don't care about leaving the box in mint condition. Voila. Look at that top cover. That's just neat, isn't it? Got Inky on the side. Instructions. Nobody needs those, right? A charging wire here. Very important. Comes with two dongles. One so I can plug it into the Atari itself, and the other I can plug into a USB, so that's pretty cool. And for the controller itself, look at that bad boy. Protective sleeve. Alright, yep, it is an Atari controller, alright. But I like the way it looks. It's got the beveled dots on the top are white, just like the pellets you're eating, I guess. Got the ghost on the top of the joystick there, that is pretty cool. And moving that sucker around, yeah, it does feel right. It'll be a minute before I can actually use one of these correctly. But let's get this out of the way because the real main event is Pac-Man. So here we go, Pac-Man Double Feature, and this one I did get a little help opening. It's got the disclaimer in the front, update your firmware if you're using the 2600 plus or the 7800 plus. Alright, I mean, for a lot of these newer games, you're just going to have to do that. I don't know, it's a pain in the butt, but gotta make it work somehow, right? See what this says on the back. 2 ways to chomp. Experience original video game romance that began in 1982 when Atari brought Pac-Man to home consoles for the first time. Enjoy Pac-Man the way it was meant to be played on an Atari console with a new arcade-style version for the Atari 7800. Or revisit the very first home version of the game with the re-release on Atari 2600 Pac-Man. Just the way you remember it. Both games are together in a 2-in-1 cartridge. See why it was love at first bite. I don't know, I guess I never really thought of Pac-Man as biting things. I mean, eating them, sure, but biting just doesn't really seem like it. I mean, he does got some big teeth on there. Or one big tooth, actually. Whatever. What is in this box, though? Let's check it out. We've got our cartridge here, sleeved, in our typical gray-backed format, red label on the top, and we got our dip switches on the back. We have 4 dip switches for 2 games. I don't think we needed 4. We probably could have got it done in 1, right? Do we need 4? What do I know? I am not an engineer. So we'll get to that in a moment, but first, let's check out the manual. And here we are, but this thing is heavy, this thing is thick. Guess it's got 2 games in there. That's why. Manuals for 2 different games. It's bigger than any other manual that I've gotten at Atari so far. And also, it's got some other stuff in there. It isn't just the manuals, it's got some information, some history, and some cool stuff you can check up on. Let's take a little closer look at that, shall we? Alright, let's open this sucker up and look at that. We got our manual for Pac-Man 2600, Pac-Man 7800, and we've got some extra stuff here in the beginning. So in here is just some information about how it came onto the Atari and how it was done. I love this quote right here. On a console with 1% the power of the Pac-Man arcade cabinet, sacrifices and adjustments had to be made. Ya don't say. And this is really cool right here. Behind the art with Hiro Kimura. It is only in hindsight that I realized I became the main illustrator of Pac-Man at Atari. Kimura. And the rest of this manual is very nice. Look at that nice illustrated color. It's got information on the ghosts, information on Pac-Man. And kind of neat here, it goes over in the 2-player mode. You can kind of control Blinky. When Blinky gets into chase mode, if you have the second controller, you can start following Pac-Man. And then Pac-Man for the 2600. It's got some information on it in the beginning. Followed by, look at that, this is just like the old manual. I love this art here. I love the Ghost Quartet singing here. So it's got that same art, but otherwise has the game select matrix, of course. Alright, enough of that reading. Reading's for nerds, right? All the cool kids just getting to playing. So let's check this out. Now, I would love to use this joystick, but unfortunately, being one-armed, I'm not going to be able to hold the joystick and use this one, so I got to call backup. And what do I got for backup? This bad boy right here. Yeah, I got this old one. It actually wasn't working right. I had to clean it out and make sure it worked before I got my surgery because it's got the suction cup bottoms and able to set it down, and play that way. So let's get to it. And stay tuned to the end because there is a secret in this game that I gotta show you that, wow, would have been a game changer if we had had it back in the day. And here we are. Here is the cover screen. I love the colors here. It looks pretty nice. A little muted, but still looks very, very good. And I love how it has all the different ghosts with their personality traits. And gotta give props to Bob DeCrescenzo. Blessed be unto him. He did a fantastic job, I think. And we've got options. 1, 2 player. You have 3 or 5 lives. Random mazes. You can start at whatever fruit you want, and the speed you can adjust. But for right now, let's just take a look at how the normal game plays. And the first thing, of course, you're going to notice is the sound. This sounds much, much better. This is very good quality. Got a good chip in there making it sound pretty arcade accurate. Not exactly. There's definitely some difference in there, but this is pretty dang good. This is close. And then looking at the visuals here, the maze, I like how they don't have it scrolling. It's all just on one screen, which is big. I never was a big fan of these scrolling mazes. I can do it in Junior Pac-Man, but the other ones I'm not a fan of. Outside of that, everything looks good. The sprites are solid. Pac-Man, of course, looks like Pac-Man. It's kind of hard to screw him up. But the ghosts, no flicker. Look at that, all solid, all one piece. No flickering at all on those ghosts. Very nice to see. And the maze itself looks pretty good. It's exactly how it should be. No compromises made here. And of course the fruit pops up exactly where it's supposed to. And gameplay, the most important thing, is good. It feels like it's supposed to. Of course, I'm just not very good. But the gameplay is definitely, it feels right. It feels like it's supposed to. And I'm always just going to recommend, instead of using a gamepad for Pac-Man, you gotta use the joystick. You gotta use a stick. That's just the only real way to play a maze game, right? And I know what you're thinking, but coach, does it have the cutscenes? The most important part of the game? Well, check out for yourself. Yeah, you'll notice the sound is just a little bit off, but otherwise it's pretty good, and yeah, the cutscenes are all in there, all 3 of them. Now that we see how it plays, let's check out some of these other options. Starting with the speed, let's put it up to the sped up mode. And this is actually the way I like to play. Like, I've always liked Miss Pac-Man a little bit better than Pac-Man because she moved quicker. And look at this. Pac-Man is a speedster. Now, some of you might say that this is cheating, having a much faster Pac-Man, but truth be told, you gotta be careful because it is a lot trickier now to control Pac-Man. I usually make a lot of mistakes trying to zip through, and I have killed myself on plenty of occasions. So, yes, it is faster, but it doesn't necessarily mean easier. But it is the best way to make sure that you rack up all 4 ghost kills on a single power pellet. What can I say? I like big points. It's also the fastest way to check out all the different cutscenes if you want to see what they are. Oh, these poor ghosts just cannot catch a break. Or you can just go back to those options and pick your starting level, like head over to the Galaxian there and have yourself a field day. I love that a Galaxian is actually one of the fruits you can grab. I don't know. Cheesy, but love it. So you can use that to skip ahead and check out all the different cutscenes. And if you do, though, be warned, because what is underneath that ghost shroud, well, I'm not sure. Is that a slug? What is that thing? Now let's check out that last option there, the random mazes. This is the coolest part about this, I want to say. Because look at that. Every single time you start the game, every single maze that you go through is going to be something completely different. Randomly generated. So you're going to see games here, or mazes here, that you have never seen before. You're going to see mazes that other people who have this game will not see. This is so cool, and it adds so much to the game. And every single time you finish a maze, you are going to see something new up ahead. Look at that. Now, it's going to have some of the same rules there, like the ghost cage will always be in the middle, and the power pellets will always be in the 4 corners. But the tunnel where you go up the sides will be in different areas. Who knows what's going to be blocking? The one-ways will be there. So it'll be a maze. You're not going to have just long one-ways. There'll be different ways to go and move around, but it is always going to look different. And this is just going to add a whole new dimension to the game because some levels are going to be easier than others. Some are going to be much harder depending on that layout. But every time you're going to have to completely relearn how to get around, where your options are, where can you turn. Is there going to be one tunnel or sometimes there's two tunnels even? Playing this way on sped up mode is just my favorite way to do it because you never know what's coming at you. Always something different. Keeps the gameplay nice and fresh and is just so much fun. I love the problem solving part and just seeing all the different wacky mazes that might pop up. But that's enough of this one. Let's take a quick look at the 2600 version before I let you in on that super secret mode I was talking about earlier. Stay tuned. And with a quick flip of the dip switch, we are now in 2600 territory, and here is Pac-Man in all its flickery ghost glory. And I will say, this is not a completely terrible game. If it had been anything other than Pac-Man, it would have been praised as a solid clone. Just sadly, it's just not good Pac-Man. Though again, I will say, if you put it on the 5 or 6 level there, 5 or 6, and the ghosts move faster, you move faster, it is a much more enjoyable game. If you just started out and play on level 1, you're just moving way too slow, and it's just not a good time. But there you are, you got your dashes instead of dots, you got your power pellets, you get your occasional wafer that shows up in the middle, and hey, what can I say? This is Pac-Man. He doesn't look up or down, just left or right, in true Atari style. But that is enough of this nonsense. Let's move on now, and I'm going to show you the super secret Easter egg that's been hiding in this double feature cart. Let's get to it. Now, to find this Easter egg, you're going to go back into your Pac-Man, your 7800 Pac-Man, go to the options level here where you got all these, and you are going to hit the pause button on the 7800 or the black and white button on the 2600 Plus, and you are going to get arcade or home version. So same thing, but you go to the home version and you've got all the options. So you can do the random mazes, the 5 lives, and the speed up. And look at this. This is so much different, so much more fun. Holy cow. And just like on the 7800 arcade version, every single time you finish a maze, a new one's going to pop up that is completely different, randomly generated, and super unique. I can't lie, I ended up playing this version for way longer than I should have, and I had a blast with it. And I just kept thinking, man, if only this was the version we got in 1982, I think all would be forgiven. And there we go, that is Pac-Man Double Feature. Now, looking at, of course, the 7800 arcade version, that looks really, really good. It's not exactly arcade accurate, but that is fine. I prefer it to be on just the one screen and not scrolling, and it's not shrunk either. I think that Bob DeCrescenzo did a very good job of making it fit just right. It controls very smooth. I had no issues with that. A little bit with the speed up mode. I have a little trouble, but if that's part of the fun, right? Now, the sound quality is not perfect, I will give you that, but it is pretty good. I would say it's definitely an improvement from the 2600, hands down, and better than even Miss Pac-Man for the 7800 It does sound better than that. But yeah, it is a little bit off, especially on the music on the cutscenes. You can tell is a little bit skewed, a little bit wrong. The ghosts all act the way they're supposed to. They each have their own different personalities. You get chased, one's a roam. They do all those different fun things. It's got the cutscenes, right? Super important if you want an accurate Pac-Man. You gotta have those. And the options. Oh my gosh, the options. I love the fact that you can have 5 lives, right? And I like how it doesn't go 3, 4, 5, because if you're either going to have 3 or you're going to have 5. No one's picking 4 lives, right? Why even have that option? So 3 or 5. I really love the sped up version. That's the way I like to play. Like, I always like Miss Pac-Man a little bit faster than Pac-Man because she moved faster. But having that option here makes it just as much fun. And of course, the big one being the maze randomizer. That is so cool. The fact that you never know what kind of maze it's going to be. It keeps it fresh. It keeps it from getting stale. It makes it so every single game you play is different, and every level is a new puzzle that you gotta solve and figure out. So the fact that that is in there, that's my way to play, sped up with a maze randomizer. 5 lives, because, I'm not that good. It's cool you got the 2600 version, because every now and again you do want to just check it out and remind yourself, is it as good or as bad as I remember? And again, if you pick the levels 5 and 6, it is a much better game. It's moving faster, the ghosts are faster, it's a much more fun one. Okay, so you can play Pac-Man, just don't play on the first setting, okay? Go to 5 or 6, and it is a much, much better game. That being said, the fact that we've got that little hidden secret Easter egg that you can put the randomizer and the sped up version of Pac-Man on the 2600 format, oh my god, that is such a fun game. If we had that, if those options were available when Pac-Man came out, wow, what a game changer that would have been. What a difference that would have made. Would it have been enough to stop the video game crash? Well, I don't know about that, but there's some argument to be had there, right? Because this would have been such a difference maker. So I'm going to say, if you are a Pac-Man fan, then this is a must-have version of Pac-Man. It just adds so much to it. This is the game that we wanted and were missing back in the day. So, again, if you're a Pac-Man fan, check this one out. I'm having fun with it. Let me know what you guys think. Is it as good as I'm saying? Am I a little bit full of hyperbole here? Let me know. This is Coach Troy, and I will see y'all next time.